You're... Hello and good evening to you. For All Mankind, Season 2, Episode 7, titled Don't Be Cruel. It's over, and it has been since April of 2021, but we're just getting started here on this July 28th, 2025, as we continue our mission to watch every episode of For All Mankind and talk all about it. And just like Ellen stepping into Tom Payne's shoes to quiet resolve, this host channel mission controls through grief, geopolitics, and lunar reclamation. I'm the voice behind the comms, the calm before the counterstrike. I'm Dave Mader, and this is Live Long and Podcast. And we got a great panel here on this live stream on YouTube to break down everything, also on Twitch and audio versions. Coming in first, if Margot needed a back channel to Star City and a moral compass to navigate classified blueprints and diplomatic dead ends, they'd beam him in. Unflinching under pressure, fluent in Cold War calculus, it's Kevin Millard.
Hi, Dave. Thank you for that.
You're welcome, Kevin. Welcome to the panel. Coming in here next, from Ottawa's Corridors of Power, where Soviet apologies are absent and Buran blueprints raise alarms, he'd decode the O-ring flaw before the launch pad ignites. Strategic foresight with a maple leaf edge, it's Adam Woodward.
Hey, Dave. You know, ironically, I am like blocks away from the Russian embassy, which is just over there. I can almost see it.
That's something.
Yeah, we know.
Let us know. We keep an eye on those guys and what they're up to over there.
Oh my God, you can see Russia from your house.
That's right. I can.
Wow. You're qualified to be a governor of some state, I think. Well, Jody Simpson's late, so we won't introduce him right now. But coming in next, she reads sabotage in silence and sees through Soviet smokescreens like Margot sees through telemetry. With astronauts stranded and diplomacy fraying, she threads through caution like chaos, like Danielle Poole through Star City shadows. It's Heather Narduzzi.
Hello, all. My favorite kind of sabotage is the Beastie Boys kind.
Yes. Well, hey, great Star Trek reference there as well. And our last panelist tonight, like a Billy Swan cover echoing through the outpost, he softens the tension, but where Karen sells the bar and dances with danger, he's more than comic relief, subversive, sharp, and ready to call the next move. It's Jeff Mader.
I'm so confident you couldn't even get those words out.
Yeah, well, subversive's a tough word, Jeff. Come on. You know, it's not one I spout off all the time. And thanks for being with us, everybody, as we continue this discussion of For All Mankind, Don't Be Cruel from the second season. In this episode, Ellen is challenged by her new role. Margot's allegiances are put to the test. And Karen explores new opportunities, personally and professionally. This is the 17th episode overall of the series, written by Nicole Beatty and directed by Denny Gordon. And let's talk about it. Well, you know, I think, Kevin, just because you're you're next there. I would normally go to you, but I think I'm going to start with Adam tonight because Adam, he said there's something in this episode that traumatized me as a child. I think it was the cover song of Elvis, but I'm not completely sure. Adam, would you like to elaborate on what?
No, I will talk about it. I think it probably better save for when we get there. But there's an event in this episode that I had completely forgot about as I sat down to watch last night. And when it came up, it just came crashing down, and the memories of it and the feelings around what came after. It was a tough time in Soviet and American relations, for sure.
Yes. I imagine you're talking about how this Korean Airlines passenger plane was shot down, which did happen in our timeline as well. And because they thought it was a spy plane. I was alive technically for it, but I was a baby. Jeff wasn't born yet, and the rest of us were pretty young.
I kept up on current events as a child, so
yes.
I was very aware of it as
you
well.
were reading the Wall Street Journal at 3 years old, I believe.
That's correct. It was the Montreal Gazette. We didn't get the Wall Street Journal in Labrador.
Apologies.
Dave, you were 6 months old. You didn't know what end was up.
I knew that. Yeah, my poop went in my pants, and that was about all I knew at that point. So,
some people never learn more than that. So you're doing well, Dave.
Yes. Of course, we've already given the spoiler warning. R.I.P. Thomas Paine, who goes down in this version of this of events. He dies in this, I don't know. I don't want to call it an accident. It's not an accident. This incident.
He just didn't have the common sense. That was the problem here. He got on a plane, dangerous to fly so close to the Russian border.
Yeah. Well,
you never know.
So close to where the Americans like to spy on Russians.
Well, that could have also been a possibility. I love the general in this episode. He's like, "Are you crazy? The United States would never use another country's plane to spy." It's like, why not? Of course you would. What are you talking about?
We would never admit to it. Not the Air Force. That's like what the CIA would do or something. That's not what the Air Force would do, or maybe. Okay, well, Kevin, I'm going to loop back to you. Did we finally get some action for you in this episode?
We did, and this is a good episode, but fuck this show. They make me like Thomas Paine, and then they kill him. Then they make me like Karen, and now she's making out with a child she raised. Like, what the hell?
That's a good point. They like to mess with us as an audience. This writing team, they get us to like a character, and they might kill them, or they might have them have a dramatic turn in their character that maybe makes us like them a lot less. So Karen and Danny have a big smooch and a bit of a dance there, and how fitting. Let's bring in our sixth panelist here as he's loading in from the arcade. There he is. If Ellen's survivor guilt collides with Reagan's expectations and Pathfinder's militarization, this guy would parse the politics from the propulsion, grounded in truth and ready to challenge the chain of command. It's Jody Simpson.
Hello. I don't know how to take that.
You're ready to challenge the chain of command, Jody. That's what we count on you for.
I am the chain of command.
Are you trying to look like Gordo with the stash?
I thought maybe, yeah.
Yes.
Technically, it was there yesterday, too. I golfed with it, so.
Gordo golfs?
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Not well said, but,
Basically, everybody is annoyed by this, so that's why it's still there.
Of course.
Sweet.
I'm sure Candace.
Fucking the chain of command.
That's how I do.
Well, Jody, do you want to give us your high-level thoughts on this episode?
I thought it was okay, but yet it's another slow burn. There was a little bit more in it, but I don't know. It's
Thomas Paine is dead.
Yeah, I don't care. I really don't.
They're sending the Marines to.
I'm just waiting for them to kill off Gordo because I know they're going to do it because I like them now, so they're going to do it.
We were just talking about that before you came in. Kevin said, "Fuck this show," were his exact words. They make me like characters, and then they have the characters either die or do making out with children shit.
I'm pretty sure that this has something to do with The Walking Dead, because every time I liked somebody in The Walking Dead, they got killed.
Right.
So,
Didn't everybody?
And all the
get killed
annoying
on
ones
that
never
show, though?
died.
Oh.
Jody, we'll cover it when we get to that part of the episode, but I know you've been very concerned about what's been going on with Karen and Danny Baldwin. And
Very.
And how is that progressing for you?
I don't like it.
No, sir, I
like
don't
it.
care for it.
I do not care for this quasi pedo thing going on. I don't like it.
They're both consenting adults.
Yeah, that's great. You know what? I got a rule. If I babysat you, I don't date you. That's just how that works.
What kind of rule is that?
That's a really good rule.
The thing that's like reversed here is normally if it would be, it's like the normal would be the guy would be the older person.
Oh yeah, and if this
you
was
know.
the other way, it would be like.
Well, it's still creepy, but it's
Yes.
it's more visible when men are creeps. Women are
Right.
usually
Yeah.
undercover creeps. And then of course there's the added double standard of when it's a young man being preyed on, not necessarily preyed on, but it's inappropriate at the very least. And it's like nice.
Well,
Fooling
to
around
Karen's
with an older
credit,
woman, you know,
Karen's
like,
credit, she walked out and she went home and had sex with her husband instead.
yeah, that was hot though.
Yeah, but that's because she was dreaming of the other guy while she was.
Yes,
doing
it was not so hot. I had to keep
Not
reminding
that
myself
hot.
of that. While I
You
was
knew what
watching
happened
that, I was
just
like,
before that. Not so hot.
she is taking home the energy from fooling around with her son's
Also-
best friend to come home
I
and
don't-
fuck her
person
hot
she
husband.
Her dead
raised.
son. Her dead
Basically,
son.
she raised because Tracy
Okay.
was hardly ever there.
By the way, I have a problem, okay? And here's the problem that I have with this whole thing, okay? Number one, I don't trust any woman who doesn't take her bra off during sex. Okay, I think that's a no-no. All right. You either go full in or you don't go at all. That's
What if
just how that
what if you
worried?
just wear a shirt?
What are you worried is in there?
Well, I already know what's in there, but that's part of the
I have to
fun.
be sure. I have to be sure what's in
Yeah. You never know.
You gotta examine the goods.
She could have like a switchblade in there or something, man. You got to make sure you're covered.
Well, speaking of
Well,
switchblades,
she's covered, and that's wrong according to
That-
Jody.
Absolutely. I agree.
release the nipples, according to Jody.
Release the nipples. They need to be
Okay,
free.
but is that the whole problem?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
How about you, Heather? Did you enjoy this episode?
I loved this episode. I feel like things happened. Lesbian yearning, secret codes with flowers, which we will talk about when we get there. And obviously, I'm really not excited about the Karen and Danny thing, but narratively, it's going somewhere we don't love, but it's going somewhere.
How
It's
far
happening.
can he go? He's only there for another week until he goes
Yeah.
back to Minneapolis.
Yeah, that's right. So
You can do a lot in a week.
Bye, Danny. No, and like everything with Ellen and the guns on the moon and the ridiculously jingoistic American takeover of the moon and the flag.
Da,
was-
da, 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 da.
Yeah. Okay, the Ride of the Valkyries was cool though, but like when they were all bounding around and then they put the flag up and they're like chest bumping and
Yeah.
shit, get out of here. That was ridiculous.
Hoorah!
Shot.
They're Marines. They're Marines, I guess.
So
The
does
shot-
Apocalypse Now actually exist in this universe? I guess.
There was also
Well, Vietnam War ended earlier in this timeline, right?
There was
maybe
also
not.
a regiment song of a paratroop regiment, I guess, in the British Army
Yeah.
before
Oh yeah.
Coppola made it famous.
Okay, and Jeff, just want to get your take on the episode as we head in to the review.
Yeah, it's a better episode because there was more like things that occurred in the episode from history, and it didn't feel like so focused on the characters. It was a little bit at the beginning with like Ellen and that, but that stuff's like kind of important. Like they need to address that, because they had spent so much time on it the episode before, so they're telling that story. So I'm fine with that. But the stuff with Danny and Karen. Just like I think everyone universally just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. About like you're just kind of like you feel gross watching it as the viewer. You're like, why? Why are you doing this to me? Doing this
The
to
only
me,
thing
show.
that could have been worse is it could have been a musical or it could have been puppets.
Yeah, like I don't
Puppies
have a
would have
good.
made that better.
I don't
No,
have
it
a
wouldn't
good
have.
answer other than I think it's for the drama of it all. You know, but it's hard to defend in any kind of way. But you know, things like this do happen in real life, so I don't know. Like maybe you can.
She
take
used to
for
feed
whatever
that
it is.
kid dinner when he was over. That's just wrong.
I agree. Like it's not good, but
And then on top of that, she gets all hot and bothered. Then she goes back to her own husband, who's like, "Okay, great, I'm getting some."
Yeah,
And then she
that
doesn't
was
even
hot,
take off the
though.
bra.
and then,
Like-
that was the greatest.
Let's
sin
just
she
half
committed.
do everything.
Yeah,
That
God.
was the greatest sin.
it's a half measure.
Exactly.
You gotta
Okay,
let
let's-
those boobies flow. Like it's just that's the way they are.
That's how Jody rolls. Okay, well,
That's
we're
how
gonna-
they should be rolled. Yes.
let's jump into the episode, everybody. Look at some screenshots if you're watching here on the video version. Look where we are in New York City, and we get to see New York City Times Square here in 1983. Of course, as we've mentioned, Star Trek II for some reason in theaters in 1983 in this timeline instead of 1982 for whatever reason. Came out a year later. So
Oh, they
it's
even got
still-
the Minolta sign there. Cool.
Yeah,
That sign was there forever.
So I feel like this is some archival footage. Oh, I was like Mrs. Robinson.
Hey, Mrs. Robinson.
It's probably not a safe place to be at in that timeline.
Anyway, so it's Ellen and Thomas Paine having a drink at the bar. They've just negotiated some kind of space alliance with Koreans. I'm not sure if it was the North Koreans or the South Koreans, but they've done
South.
so. South
Probably
Koreans.
self. Yeah.
I'm
I'm sure the North Koreans are still wackos in this universe.
Perhaps. Yes, more than likely.
I guess I probably
And-
shouldn't have said that on an internet broadcast, but
Well, the North
You're gonna
Koreans.
if
get
I'm
us
gone
all
next
killed,
week, you
Jody.
know what happened.
the North Koreans got him.
North Koreans got me.
So
Yeah.
is this scene taking place in Alaska, or is it New
No.
York City?
New York City. Why do you
That-
ask?
Because because she says that okay, the flight of it like that gets shot down flies from New York to Alaska, then Alaska to South Korea. Like that's
South Korea, yes.
right. So that's why I was asking, because I couldn't quite figure out where it was, because and then she's like, he says to her that her dad's in Connecticut, her dad's sick, right? Or
Yeah,
has a
well,
heart
we haven't
attack?
quite got to that part. Yes, Connecticut, of course, adjacent to New York City here. But the plan was that they were supposed to go to Korea next, maybe to ink this deal, whatever they've negotiated here. So they were going to go together. But the other important part here is that Thomas Paine, he's very complimentary towards Ellen. He's like, you're really good at this job. You are, you're awesome. Like, you have a lot of potential here, and I can see you go. And she's like, I'm going to tell you something, Thomas, right? And he expects her to say she's pregnant or she's, whatever. And that is,
I love that he was like, "You're pregnant." She goes, "No, no."
Yeah, no. Of course, what she's intending to do here is to say, I'm leaving NASA because I'm going to go off with Pam and be all that. But before she can really deliver that news here to Thomas Paine, there's a phone call that have tracked her down. As she's a guest at this particular hotel. And on the phone, we don't hear the conversation, but we can see she's in distress. And after she hangs up, she says that her father has had a heart attack, and she doesn't know what to do. But Thomas Paine's like, no, it's family. You have to go right away. Don't worry about it. He's very, you can catch up with me in a few days if you need to, right? But go check on your dad.
Wrong.
Turns out that, but he doesn't know that. Neither does she. Well, because of course, if she had been on that plane, she would have died too. So this kind of does this I don't know, random
But
event.
you know what this scene does? It just again shows exactly how decent this Thomas Paine is. He's just a nice man.
Yeah,
He cares about his people, and he's got it covered.
That's why he
Spoilers,
must
don't
die.
get too
That's
happy
why he
with him.
must die. Yes,
And that's why he's fictional.
That's why Gordo's gonna die. I haven't seen ahead, but I know he's gonna die
That's why he's
because
fictional.
they've made him to the point where I like him now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This man in real life would not be nice, most likely.
Yeah,
Probably
probably not. But fiction. So so Ellen takes off, and Thomas is left by himself here to drink his martini or whatever.
Now, I just want to ask if the group thinks, do you think she was about to tell him? I think she was about to tell him she was leaving NASA, but not necessarily come clean about the Pam situation. Because look what happened when she told Deke and the reaction she got. Now, I think she was just going to tell him she was leaving NASA, and that's it. That's all. Do y'all think she was going to tell him the whole shebang, or just
Hold
NASA?
on. You might have come across something here. Oh, she might be the Reaper. Every show has a Reaper.
The last person they talked to before they die?
Yeah.
Reaper Ellen. Ellen Reaper watch.
Ellen Reaper. Well, how many
Count
people
one.
have died that she's known?
No,
Deke?
it's Margot. Margot's the last
Peg.
person he talks to.
Margot's
Oh, that's
the
right.
Reaper.
Margot's
would be
the
more of
Reaper.
Reaper.
Now, let me tell you, I believe that because Margot is on fire in this episode. Love it.
To answer your question, my take, Heather, is that she, based on the previous episode and her telling Pam that she doesn't care if the world knows and all that.
Yeah,
that
I think she was going to tell him.
the whole, or if she was going to say I'm leaving NASA, and maybe if he asked why, she would give him the answer. But I could also buy that she was only going to give him half the truth as well. Like
You know what though? Like he's a little more stately than Deke was. You know, he knows what's going on in the world. He's not a stupid man.
Yeah, neither was Deke though.
Nor was Deke, but maybe I get what you're saying. Like maybe Thomas Paine is a little more worldly and less old-fashioned in the way
traditional,
that
yeah.
Deke would be.
Maybe. Yeah.
Hard to say.
Hard to
Deke's a Midwestern, American.
Deke's a
man.
Thomas is a politician. Deke is he's just an engineer and
A
astronaut.
pilot, engineer guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so different, slightly different, I don't know, demeanors and all that and backgrounds.
Well,
but yeah.
Do you know what they have in common though? They're both dead.
Correct. That's right, Heather. Moving on, that's a good segue to the
I
plane
wonder how many
ride.
times. I wonder how many times we're going to end up at Thomas Paine's grave and talking to him.
Well, since we'll have
That
to
one
find
might
his
be
bo-
hard.
Then we'll have to find his body first.
Just
Anyway.
floating around somewhere in the Sea of Japan.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we see this plane now. I've seen planes like this in shows and movies. Like, it's like a double decker plane with a staircase and
747. I flew in one of
747.
those.
yeah,
From
with
England.
this huge bar area. Here.
I've absolutely seen this plane set in another show or movie, and I can't think of what it is right now.
I think
Airplane
Absolutely.
75.
Airplanes.
I don't know. I wasn't alive yet, Adam. I'm just a wee baby.
Right.
Shut up.
Well, you can even have a phone call here on this plane in 1983, I guess.
Wow, this is different technology.
Yeah.
Look at the room.
But they did have plane phones back then.
Look how much room they have.
Oh, it's a
Look how
luxury.
far back you can put that seat.
That is the life.
That ain't no Sunwing plane, I can tell you that.
No. Anyway, so we have Thomas Paine talking to Margot on the phone, as we mentioned earlier. He's
Thomas
getting his
Paine is
martinis.
married. I didn't know that.
Yep, he's married. He said,
Wait, go
he's
back. Is he drinking a glass full of olives?
it's a martini with like a lot of olives.
There's
in
a
it.
lot of olives in there. There's got to be like 5 in there at least.
It's a
right.
snack martini.
Margot says, "Why don't you sleep?" He's like, "Why would I sleep when I could focus on a plane ride here? 14 hours to Korea." And-
You don't need to focus on much but the ocean in a minute.
Yeah. Well, he's on the phone, and I can't remember all the substance of the conversation, but they're talking about different things here. Margot and Thomas Paine, and then we see behind the jet, this commercial airline plane, we have a Russian fighter pilot, fighter plane, and quite ominous behind it, So the conversation with Margot and Thomas Paine is continuing, and then we only hear in Russian, like him talking, the Russian pilot talking to his command center or whatever, and we see that they have a big old missile on the side of the plane here, ready to go. This guy was sleeping. Yeah, he definitely never knew what was coming. Thomas Paine is continuing the call, and then we see that the Russian shoots their missile off, and it's heading towards the pilot, and the phone call is continuing here, and all of a sudden we see a little like flash. We don't really see it like the full explosion of the plane. On
the budget.
I kind of giving it to us from Thomas Paine's perspective, where he maybe saw like a bit of a flash of light before he was just dead, right? And Margot's like, she hears static on the other end. There's nothing there. She hangs up. She waits for him to call back, but there's nothing. And that is sort of the end of the teaser as we go into the title card, Don't Be Cruel. So, like you said, they're killing off some characters we like, and Thomas Paine is one of them. So we head into the episode proper.
I didn't really predict he was going to die. He wasn't on my bingo card.
I had forgotten he died in this episode. Like I was like, oh right, okay. So
I was shocked. I'm
shocked. Purposely not going forward. So
I was like, at least something happened. But also, what the fuck?
Yeah.
No.
Right, but what we'll see it comes is like with Thomas Paine being killed here, that this kind of leaves this opportunity to Ellen to kind of like be his successor. And then we'll get to that in the episode, but she's going to be basically given this, start of this choice of like, do I want the career or do I want Pam?
Which is a choice she's already made once before.
I bet you they all take their bras off.
Jesus Christ,
Jody.
Just saying.
Anyway, let's catch in here with Ellen and her father in Connecticut at the hospital. It looks like her dad's going to be okay. The heart attack was not fatal, at least for now. And he seems to have a pretty good relationship with Ellen, from what we can tell. He's talking about she wants him to slow down. He's like, how can I slow down? I'm running this big, huge company.
Well, it was funny because he said, I'm running a $500 million company. And I go, no, it's not that big.
See, I think this is at a place, though, because I think if this happened previous to her having the conversation in the lounge with him, it would make more sense. Because then you could say, okay, well, no, she's actually going to leave and run her dad's company or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's kind of out of...
Well, she says, well, I might be able to help you, Dad. She starts telling him, like, maybe I'll come back and try to help run the business because she's talking about leaving NASA. Maybe this is where she thinks her next job could be. Or then the other thing that's in this conversation with her father is that, he seems to really like Larry.
Well, he asked, I think it's interesting to note that in both the previous scene and with Thomas Paine and this one with her father, we see the expectations, the heteronormative family expectations that everyone has on her, right? Mm-hmm. Like Thomas Paine asked her if she was pregnant when she said, I have to tell you something. And then her father says, well, what does Larry think of you maybe leaving NASA? And, am I going to have a grandchild soon? At least I know you'll always have a solid man around you, So we feel the weight of everyone else's expectations on Ellen versus what she wants to do.
Correct. Yeah.
Thomas Paine also tells Ellen, "Oh, you're really good at this. He's buttering her up to like give her confidence and all that stuff, which is like probably because he like wants her to eventually take his job, which she does eventually anyway because he dies.
In this very episode, yeah. Basically, Reagan's just like, "You're it, Ellen. I know you've been his assistant for like 2 weeks, but whatever." You used to run the base, but just as Ellen is like, she's talking with her dad, and she's I don't know when she was ever going to tell him the whole truth or anything like that. But
this screenshot is right after he said, "I wouldn't mind a grandchild or two." Look at her; she's like, it's so uncomfortable. Mm-hmm.
Right,
that's going to be hard.
But there's a call here. The White House is calling Ellen. Would you like to talk to the White House? And she's like, oh, hello. Yes, this is. And then her demeanor immediately changes. She grabs the TV and she puts it on. And I guess we hear Dan Rather or somebody like that, a news anchor, giving us the story here about the Korean plane being shot down. Her
Why is all information on this show delivered via news articles?
I know, it's annoying.
It is kind of
everything's like, it's a TV. We want to show you archive footage.
If the scene has a TV in it, then all of a sudden they tell us everything.
Sometimes we'll be going from scene to scene when they're all watching TV.
Like she would have probably found out about that before it was on TV. You know,
I would imagine. Yeah.
You know, like in real life, NASA would
like he's already landing at the damn naval base. Like,
well, they had to find her, but it's the U.S. government, so I don't know. Anyway, so
also we see her receive a call about her father while she's with Thomas Paine in the opening scene, and then we see her receive a call about Thomas Paine while she's with her father at the hospital.
Ooh,
They're really good at tracking her down.
They are. She seems to have a tracker. Anyway, we get Reagan here telling us this about what's happened here. The Soviets shot down the Korean passenger liner. We see them watching this broadcast at the moon base at Jamestown, including Tracy. We see that Tracy's very upset about it. Now, this was a real event, right? So, like, some of this is real, like, speech from when Reagan was talking about this event. This is the real Dan Rather from that real news footage back then. Here in the outpost, we can see Danny and Karen getting sort of up to speed here.
Karen's sitting between her two children, one of which she will be kissing later.
Yes. Kelly's there too. Yes.
Apparently my bra comment was a little too far, but that was okay.
back here we can see how mad Ed is. Gordo has no lines.
This is very reminiscent of the opening episode where they're all sitting around TV and watching.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Also, Ed
but
looks
that's also
like
something that happens all the time in the show.
Yes, it's every episode.
Every episode, there's somebody watching TV.
Ed looks like kind of like withdrawn, and it's ever since he was told you got to go be an astronaut again from Karen. He just like looks depressed, like he really does.
And that was supposed to make him happier too.
Yeah.
Do you think so? Because I think he's been looking like that, kind of like beige, and they're making him look a little older and everything. But he looks so hot in this episode. Like, I thought about it in this shot specifically. Like, he just looks so good. Maybe it's because he looks like.
But he is hot as Danny Stevens? Is the real question.
He's way hotter than Danny Stevens.
Yeah.
Danny Stevens is a child. My name is only Mrs. Robinson for fun. Not
Mrs. Jaemeel Robinson. Anyway, so then we head over. Yeah, we see from this sequence while Reagan's talking, it goes into the Houston Space Center.
So
we see
this was actually an absolutely true broadcast. The only thing they changed was adding in Thomas Paine's name.
Yeah,
right.
Really?
Right.
Because the other guy, he was a U.S. representative, Larry McDonald.
Yeah.
So there was a real politician that died in the real.
Did you know that Nixon was almost on this flight as well?
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was supposed to be on this flight, and then he was told not to be, which is.
There's a whole conspiracy thing around this.
Well, we'll get into that.
And that's what the song American Pie is about.
That came out way before this.
I'm just joking. It's not. Never mind.
All right. Anyway, so then they shut off the TV here, and we have this meeting here. It's the general. We got Molly. We got Margot present, and they're talking about how the hell this happened and why would they. Basically Molly though kind of grilling the general, saying like, why did this happen? Were you really spying on them? What provoked them? He's like, why would we use some other one's plane to spy? We would never do it.
He's totally lying.
He's totally lying. Or he's only a 2-star general. He doesn't really know. Maybe. But anyway, Ellen walks in here for this meeting, and they're like, of course, they're glad she's not dead, but she kind of gives the news here that she's now the acting advisor, like administrator of NASA. Now kind of the boss of NASA. At least in the short term. So she takes her seat, and she says, "I've talked to the president, and we're kind of contemplating our next moves here." I'm trying to remember what else is in the scene.
Well, they ask about whether or not it had spy cameras on the plane, and Bradford says it's ridiculous, and then is it this scene or it's another scene where she recommends.
He's just sitting like a petulant child.
Yes.
Yeah. Margot in this scene says, I could talk to Sergei and find out what's up. And the general says, oh, they just shot us up and we're gonna ask them for help. and then Ellen okays it, and that's why Margot's kissing her on the cheek there or saying something to her and going.
Oh yeah, don't
So
listen
she
to the
goes and
general
asks
guy.
Lady.
Yeah,
You
he's
know?
gonna get us all killed.
Diplomacy.
He's just got his arms crossed. He's like, no one will let me shoot anything.
Yeah.
I thought I was here to blow things up.
The only way to take anything from somebody is a gun.
Well, that's all accurate to probably how he thinks. Anyway, we then head over to Star City, USSR. It's lovely this time of year, and
Can I just stop you? It looks like one of the planets they show like on Star Trek. They're like, "Here's Cardassia." Like that's what this looks like.
It's a painting.
Yeah.
yeah, it looks so depressing.
To me, it just looks like the before photo of like Chernobyl.
Yeah, right. Danny and her compatriot, I guess, have been locked in their rooms here, since this incident. They're on lockdown. They can't get an outside line. They're locked inside their rooms. They're basically prisoners, hostages. She's banging on the door. She can't get out. We see here these Russian characters that have been engraved in the door. I don't read Russian, so we find out later that these are names of other astronauts, or cosmonauts, rather.
One of the names is actually, I'm doing fun facts all along the way here, but one of the names is the first female astronaut on the moon. So it's a fictional name.
Right. Yes.
And one is actually a real cosmonaut.
And that man that was like the Leonov, right? The one that was in this version of events was the first man on the moon.
Yeah, Alexei Leonov.
Leonov.
And
yeah.
then Valentina, I forget the last name, but she in this timeline was the first woman cosmonaut on the moon.
Yeah. So, but things aren't looking so great for Danny in Star City. She's regretting this vacation, perhaps. Anyway, so then we see Margot is heading over to talk to Sergei. She runs into this MP guy, the sergeant, who won't let her in, even though she's like NASA big boss. And
I love the pejorative way he just talks down to her, honey.
He calls her honey. Well, that might be honey. Well, Margot,
and then she just gives it right back.
This was iconic. She gives them the rundown of how much time he has, and then she looks at her watch and says, "Your time starts now, honey."
Yeah, and he's like,
just so calm and icy. I loved it. That was wonderful. Good job, Margot.
You can either have a cold beer at the end of your shift, or you can be shipped off to Greenland, I think is what.
And this guy's like a private too. He's not
a sergeant. He's a sergeant.
And he's an old-looking sergeant.
Yeah.
Right. So not
he's
done.
Got a couple ribbons, so
this.
He's been there for a bit.
Fantastic. I don't know if they got her a new wig or a slightly different hairstyle or what, but she looks amazing here, where she's been looking really like mousy this season, I find. She looks great here.
She looks a little more volume.
She's getting dolled up to see her special man.
That's right.
Speaking of Sergei, he's kind of like Danielle Poole is locked up in his room here, although
much nicer room.
Much nicer room. She's bringing borscht, as you do, for a meal here. Food.
I'll take that, whatever that meat was that he brought Danielle over this borscht.
Yeah.
That borscht did not look good, and it didn't look like borscht.
No.
Borscht is purple. It's made from beets. What's in there? I'd take the mystery sausage too.
She brought him tomato soup.
The only thing in this episode that looked worse was what the only thing in this episode that looked worse was whatever the fucking Baldwins were eating. It was
bean sandwiches.
Why do they eat the worst food?
I don't know.
Because Karen's out busy kissing children is why.
It's Kevin's favorite, Kevin.
Yeah. Anyway.
I made your favorite.
Well, anyway, poor
Ellie's
Sergei.
contacting the adoption company. She's like, they're feeding me fucking bean sandwiches and disgusting spaghetti over here. Somebody please save me.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'm not sure she's at the age where it would be an issue anyway.
This conversation here between Sergei and Margot is kind of interesting because she's like, "Why are you locking me in my room and turning off my phone?" She's like, "Yeah, you killed a bunch of people, like your government, rather, not you, but your government just killed 280 people, including my friend Thomas Paine. That's why things are at what they're at right now, right? And he's kind of receptive to that message, and then they start having the borscht." Which he says is weak, But apparently there's some kind of other Russian ritual where the steam coming off or the vapor coming off the hot food is kind of like a, reminiscent of a spirit in Russian culture. I've never heard of this before, but there's.
Is that true? Fun facts, Adam?
I don't know, but I'll check it out.
Thank you.
Well, this is kind of like a little toast to the fallen, I suppose, similar to how the Russians were drinking in the previous episode, and I guess in this episode too. And I think that's kind of. Is there anything else in this scene that I forgot?
Well, she's asking for help, right?
She's asking for his help, yeah. So I guess that's what's setting this up. And then she stops using the spoon and she just drinks it right out of the cup. That's Margot. Anyway, we head over.
She doesn't have any manners though, so that makes sense.
We head over to Tom Brokaw, who's giving this next update down. And of course, I think this is again a real broadcast from 1983. And we get some real footage here from the United Nations. George Shultz, who I'm assuming was also Reagan's Secretary of State in our timeline as well, giving some reports here. Of course, Jimmy Carter, who did not become president in this timeline, is still a senator for Georgia.
Justice for Peanut.
Yeah.
Did Jimmy Carter go back to being a senator after being president? No.
Yeah. Was he?
He went to his peanut farm.
But he was the senator before he was president.
Yes.
Okay.
But I didn't know if he ever went. Yeah. Has anyone ever? No president's ever been president. It's like, I'm going to go be senator again.
There was a president that went and became a congressman after he was president. I think it was John Quincy Adams.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago. Now they make too much money on the the public speaking circuit and
the bribe circuit.
Right.
Yes.
Of course.
Right.
$1,000 a plate, or just to hear them speak. Anyway, so they're going on here. We see Ellen. She's busy on the phone back at her house. Larry's giving her the pointers. He's whispering in her ear. Like as Ellen's becoming more of this like public political figure. Larry's getting her the coffee. He is loving this, in my opinion, throughout this scene. But then who's here? It's Pam. She's here with a tray of cookies and some flowers for Ellen.
Now, I would like to point out, as a lifelong flower enthusiast, flowers and bouquets have been used for hundreds of years as messages, to send coded messages and to have meaning and symbolism. And I thought it was very on point that they chose to have Pam show up with a bouquet of white asters, because they symbolize innocence, purity, new beginnings, loyalty, all of which Pam has in spades for Ellen.
But Ellen does.
She didn't have loyalty for her girlfriend, though.
No,
not so much. No, a lot of cheaters on this show.
Ellen, she greets Pam warmly. She's all, and even Larry, who I guess hasn't seen Pam, since 10 years ago. Like they have a kind of a cordial reunion here. Not too no animosity. It seems, at least on the surface, right? But then Ellen's right back on the phone, and we see just the look here on Pam's face. That she's not super. She's already had these doubts about whether Ellen would have, I guess, the courage to sort of find her own way to leave the career behind and pursue their life together.
Dave, that's the face that says, "You're doing this to me again, aren't you?" That is what that face says.
100% agree.
Right. Well, Ellen doesn't seem to notice it here, as because we got Larry and Ellen, wheeling and dealing on the phone, and keeping up with this, and Pam she's like, "I can't believe I brought you flowers."
Yeah.
It transitions later to the bedroom where Ellen's still on the phone. Pam just kind of patiently waiting, for her to finish. And then after that phone call's over, we see Ellen collapse on the bed, and she's all tired, and she's never been on the phone so much in her life. Pam trying to support her, giving her a back rub, trying to get her
bra off.
Trying to get her bra off, which is what Jody's all about. It's just
no point unless that comes off.
The conversation then kind of, Ellen is kind of dealing with her own mortality here because she could have died in that flight, whatever. She brings this up to Pam, and Pam's like, well, maybe you were meant not to be on that plane, and this happened for a reason. And then Ellen, we see Ellen can get pretty defensive at times, right? Where she's like, what do you mean that Thomas was meant to die? And that's
which is a huge leap for the person you love, who did not mean that, girl. Like, that was. She's upset and not like connecting with Pam in this moment, I don't think.
I'm not an Ellen fan. There's a lot of things Ellen does. I go, I don't like her.
She's gonna live forever in this series because I don't like her.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, by your metric, Pam's probably going to die now after this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
If we go by the Ellen Reaper theory.
True.
Right. Sometimes they kill characters I don't like to. Just for the record. So anyway, there's a phone call, and who is it? The president, Ronald Reagan, everybody. And Pam even is a little shocked, but Ellen takes the phone call out to the balcony, and we hear the Reagan impersonator, who I think does a pretty good job.
He did okay, but he was a little flat. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, "Hello, Ellen. Do you like to pray?"
Yeah, that's what it sounded like. It sounded like, do you remember in The Simpsons? Hello, Homer. Do you like football?
That was Gerald Ford.
That was Gerald Ford, but yeah.
Gerald Ford, but that's what it sounded like.
I thought that's what Gerald Ford really sounded like. Is it not?
Not really.
Yeah, kinda, but not. Yeah.
Well, even the guy who did the George H.W. Bush.
So Reagan's like, "Do you like to pray? And what are your thoughts about bras?"
on or off, girl. Like,
on or off.
Now we can also see Pam in the background here, who is like happy for Ellen that this is all happening and super.
Pam's just trying to get laid.
The president is calling, but this is like, you can see it, and as Jeff said on her face earlier, this is getting to be the final nail in the lesbian happily ever after coffin. Like, it's not.
Yep.
It's not.
Well. Pam is coming to the realization that there is no way that she's going to choose her.
That's right.
There's a couple things happening in this scene too. Look, Pam is lit with the warm red, orangey tones. We have Ellen into cold blue, stark tones, and you see here that why does she need to go to the balcony to have this conversation? She doesn't. She chooses
because she's
to do
leaving
that.
it behind.
She's turning her back on her love to go talk to the president about something she said wasn't that important to her, like literally last episode to Pam.
The biggest issue is this is the 80s. That's a cordless phone, and that antenna isn't up.
That's the Wired magazine take. Yeah.
Don't even get me started on the screens at NASA. So that fucking Apple II that she has in the background in her office. What's her name?
Margot.
Margot. Yeah. She's had that fucking thing on the same screen in like 3 different scenes. I'm like, that thing's got to be burned in by now.
Listen, she uses the chalkboard for moon diagrams, and that's it.
True.
Right.
Jeff, I think that's a very astute observation,
observation
about the warm lighting in the background and the cool in the front, and Ellen stepping into
darkness,
that dark light away from the warm light of her love.
Pam just trying to get laid, and she's like, "Fucking president keeps cock blocking me."
Was it? Do lesbians call it cock blocking?
Well, I guess it's not cock blocking then.
So, anyway,
we'll talk about that later, Heather.
Yeah. We head back to NASA. Yeah, we get this conversation. We had this conversation here between Margot and the general, where he brings her some.
See, there it is again.
New
Burning
intelligence
that fucking
reports.
screen in. Anyway, sorry.
No.
It angers me.
It's basically like these photos that have been taken from a spy plane of a different launch site that Russia has, where they're building their shuttle, their equivalent to Pathfinder.
A different foreign plane that had spy cameras rigged to the bottom.
Right. He's like, no, these came from one of my spy planes. Perhaps.
Right. Yeah.
The general kind of talking about them here. And then they start looking at, these are the schematics of the Russian shuttle. And Margot can see that they've basically been stolen from the American schematics, but they're old. They're a couple years old. We all know what happened to Challenger in 1984, and that disaster, or was 86, sorry. Challenger in 1986, that disaster, the O-rings and all that. And basically that in this timeline, they fixed that before that happened, but now that the Soviets have copied that design, and they haven't corrected for that, they have a big potential for their shuttle just to blow up on the way.
Well, they didn't fix it. They burned a bunch of people, didn't they? Wasn't there an episode where like a whole bunch of guys got incinerated?
Well, that was a different launch, but
yeah.
but there were things that they caught here.
Remember him? He was a nice guy too, by the way.
Yeah, who's
Yeah, they kill all the good ones.
Right. Yeah, but that was a different matter. But anyway,
fucking Tracy's gonna live forever in this series.
But eventually the conversation comes to this point where Margot's like, we have to warn the Soviets that their design is flawed, or they're like. The general agrees with you, Jody. He's like, no, we can't tell them. Like, no,
you steal the plans, you read them wrong. That's your problem.
Right. And she's like, no, we can save lives here. They just shot down our plane, says the general. Well, that's
True.
not the astronauts' fault. And then so the general is just like, no, you can't. This is classified. You're not to tell the Soviets about their design flaw in this because they stole it in the first place.
And this is why the military sucks. Because they don't care about people. Like they're the enemy. Screw them. It's like,
Casualties are expected.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it's exactly right.
Right. We then have this UN scene here, which I think is all real footage. They got the Soviet ambassador talking about the whole incident with the Korean plane being shot down, the U.S. ambassador to the UN. I guess the UN used to have a lot more importance.
No.
Right?
It
No?
never did.
It was the same.
No.
It's the same as it is today.
Yeah. They just seemed to report on it a lot more back then.
Okay, yeah, and they were like, oh, well, like, here, let's look at the footage and everything else, and, the Soviet ambassador here going, we did nothing.
Look at that ashtray on that.
That's a
big ashtray. Yeah, that's a couple packs he came with.
It's almost the size of the ashtray from Back to the Future 2. That he throws.
Yeah, the way he throws it, Biff. Yeah.
Yeah.
We get to see some great 1980s newscast.
I am
special
so
effects.
glad they did it this way though, because if they did it any other way that actually looked modern, I would be like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
this looks so much better.
This looked like 1983.
It fits the timeline perfectly.
It might actually be from 1983.
It looks like the beginning of like Carmen Sandiego. Where in the world?
Do it, Rockapella.
That game was the shit.
It was.
Anyway.
Oh yeah.
Back in Star City. No, not Star City. I'm sorry. No, this is back with Karen. Karen at the outpost. There's leaky pipes here. She's trying to fix them.
That's not the only pipe she's looking for.
Oh my!
That's an old pipe though. She's looking elsewhere.
She's looking for the new young pipe.
He's looking for a new pipe.
That pipe's got too many leaks.
Gentlemen.
Listen, Heather, you knew who we were before you signed up for this.
That is correct. Look at the face on her. She can't wait to get a piece of that pipe.
Yeah.
She's got an appetite.
She just gave us shit and then she says that. That's amazing.
But that's not even Danny. That's not Danny.
That's Danny.
Oh,
Yeah.
it is. Is that? Wait, go back. The shirt's different.
No.
Oh no! Is this her talking to like one of the bartenders or something? Oh,
No, this is the guy that came in that said because he wants to buy the bar.
Well, no, this is Tracy's husband.
Sam.
Right.
This is Danny.
Yeah, this is the guy that she married.
You're right. I think it's the other bartender, the other end of the table.
Yeah, but this is Danny's stepfather,
Yes.
and I guess the other kids too, right? And but this is there's not even really any much here between Sam and Danny. Like it seems they've met before. But
Not yet.
Yeah. He goes,
Good
he's a
time.
good kid. All right, back to you. Like he's like, yeah, whatever. He's a good
Whatever.
kid. Whatever. I don't really care about that kid. It's like.
But this is the first time we ever get this setup here that that Sam wants to buy the outpost and turn it into basically a franchise, and with all the astronaut paraphernalia, and it's kind of like a museum. This place in some ways.
This will be about as good as the themed McDonald's restaurants.
What McDonald's pizza, Jody? Remember that? That was good.
McDonald's pizza was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
It was.
Jeff Mader loved it.
And in Mapleview, they had the
Like a
Elvis-themed McDonald's.
Yeah.
Back then.
Anyway, but Sam's like, when are you gonna let me buy this one day? And then Karen, as Sam's walking away, says, well, maybe I will. And then there's like this negotiation between them. Like, you know, he offers her what, like $250,000 or something.
To start. Yeah.
You know, and she asks for 400 something.
450.
450.
Right.
They eventually negotiate down to 390, I think, and then she says, "Okay, deal." And then she has this gasp where she's like, "Oh, did I just do that?" And he's like, "Well, not yet. You didn't. You have to shake my hand first. This is Texas. That's how."
Hold on, is she allowed to do this without her husband?
Okay, I was just about to say, why is she even doing this without even talking to Ed about it? As like,
She doesn't care what he thinks.
Because don't they own the bar together?
I would imagine they're married, so they kind of.
But she's the business owner. She does all the work. Like,
Yeah, but like, all I'm saying is, you still should give him a heads up.
If this was Ed's bar and he didn't check with her, would there be any problems?
Listen, y'all, she's doing a lot of stuff behind Ed's back.
Right.
Lately.
Right.
Don't we think?
How are you gonna do
This is
that?
the least of Ed's
lot
concern.
of pipeline.
She's coming home with a $390,000 check in 1983. This is pretty good.
This is big
Yeah.
for a crappy bar that's, not that. It's
Leaking.
like leaky pipes.
Yeah, but it's a bar that Ed is strongly.
Ed drank at? Who cares?
Yeah. He just drank here. You never know it. Anyway, so Sam bought the bar. Well, they got to get the contract signed, but then this is happening. She's getting out, and Karen's transformation continues. Our next scene is back in Star City, here with Danielle Poole.
It's always raining. It's always gray.
Always raining. It's always overcast. It always sucks. And
So this is
on
actually
Ferenginar.
London then.
she's on Ferenginar. Then this Soviet guy comes into her room, and he kind of makes her, I don't know what he says, but then this guy comes in. We're told that he's an engineer. He's one of the Soviet engineers, but there's something about this guy that's really unsettling.
This place looks pretty good though. Like, I don't know what she's complaining about. Like, she's got a window.
Being held against her will, I believe,
whatever.
is what she's complaining about.
Yeah. Did anyone bring her borscht? No.
Yeah,
No,
nobody brought her
got her a
borscht.
mint sausage and vodka, which
Vodka.
I think
And left the bottle for her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a knife. He
Very
left a
nice.
knife.
That
Nice.
man is a gentleman.
Yeah. And she goes, "Do I have a choice?" And he goes, "No, you don't have a
No.
choice." So,
Gave her a knife.
You're in
She's
Russia.
gonna
Do you
put
think
that
you have a
knife-
choice?
She's going to put that knife right in her bra.
That's why
Yeah, see?
That's why you keep your bra on.
Man.
anyway. Did this guy really feel like? I don't really remember anymore. Actually, did this guy feel like a engineer, or did he feel more
No.
KGB to you?
He felt more KGB.
Yes. Also,
Yeah.
how much did that sausage smell? That gave off a vibe.
And also, he's got the wedding ring on the wrong finger.
Right. I think one thing that we're kind of like missing, I think a little bit, is I know Danielle. He says I've never met an American woman astronaut, but the fact that Danielle is African American, I think, might be more of an issue with these Russians than the series would let us on to believe. Russians can be a little racist, is basically what I'm getting at here.
Oh, and Americans aren't at all. So
No, but
probably fine.
Especially in the 80s.
yeah.
But Russia doesn't have a lot of black people,
Right.
and so just.
So do you think he was like coming to get a look at her? As a
I don't. This was.
novelty?
I'm not quite sure what his goal was in this conversation, because there was obviously no information she has that would be of any value to him, I would think, but.
He doesn't know that.
His ring being on the wrong finger is actually a detail.
Like,
It's
oh,
is it?
traditionally on the right hand for Orthodox Christians in Russia.
Oh, there you go.
Oh.
All right.
does he say his religion? He has a religion at one point, or is that Sergei who talks about his religion? I think it's Sergei, right?
I think it's
I think
It's
Sergei.
Reagan.
Also Reagan.
Also Reagan. Anyway, so the conversation goes back and forth, and he pulls out the knife, and he talks about the Soviet cosmonauts whose names are on the door and who slept in this room and all that. But then when he finally it's over and he gets up and he says, "When you leave this place, hold your head up high," and that's kind of the end of that conversation.
So I didn't really. This scene didn't move anything forward for me at all. Like I don't know what the point of it was, because I agree with you. I got the feeling he wasn't really just an engineer down there to pay his professional respects. He was
She
checking
just needed
her
screen
out.
time.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, I guess they had to show her, like, while they're holding the astronauts, they had to do something with her, I guess. But did anyone else see any other point to this scene?
No, all I can see is they put her up in a decent hotel room.
I guess they gave her the only point is they gave her a knife so she could write her name into the door.
They
That's
also
about it.
needed to get to the 50 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
So filler. Adam's going with filler.
So I guess they did give her the knife so she could put her name in the door. Maybe like furthering, cementing the Soyuz Apollo mission, because now it's her name there with the Russian cosmonauts.
Perhaps. Yeah. Well, then, yeah. And by the end of this, she gets to finally get on the phone with Molly, and Molly's able to kind of fill her in because she doesn't even know anything. Like, Danielle doesn't know anything about the Korea airplane or any of that stuff yet, right? So she's been completely in the dark about all this. So, so we see her talking to Molly and kind of getting filled in. We then head over to a scene here with Margot and Aleda, Jeff's favorite, where
Margot
Aleda's
got some back. I never noticed that before.
I'm telling you, Margot got a glow up in this episode. She looked good, girl.
Yeah, and Aleda can't get her sandwich out of the vending machine, but Margot knows the trick with the negative pressure to give to Aleda. Just do the negative pressure.
Well, I'm so glad that scene from 4 episodes ago paid off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
Talk about filler. Everything with Aleda. A lot of filler.
Who's in that thing? Look at those Tato skin.
Would have been great if she had
I'm
said
proud of you,
negative.
Jeff. We've been on for an hour, and that's the first time you mentioned that.
Yeah, but I can't help it. Every time there's a scene with her, I'm like, what is going on? Like,
why is she here?
Why is she important? Please. Like, now you're right. We're doing a callback to a Margot scene where she got a sandwich. It's like, yes, I get it. You want these two to be connected or something. Like, you asked what the point of the last scene was. I think it had to do with mirroring the scene with Sergei. You guys already mentioned it. Like, oh, he had a nice hotel and she's like in this room on Ferenginar, like, and again here they're trying to mirror or like get these characters to come together, and it's like I just don't really buy this relationship. I don't think.
Yeah,
think
and this whole scene, they're laughing about the peanut guy, and it doesn't really matter.
No.
Hey,
wildly inappropriate for Margot.
To say that too. Wildly inappropriate. Terrible, terrible supervisory work, Margot.
She's been drinking brandy. Like,
hey,
come on.
Heather,
Yeah.
are those blouses like? This is a question. Like, are those like the bows up the front? Do they have them? Were they attached, or do you put those on top?
It's called a pussy bow, actually. And they are attached to the shirt, so it's just like 2 long pieces that hang down, and you tie them.
Okay,
That's a fun fact.
See, that's why
Fun
Heather
fact.
makes every podcast better.
Fun fashion facts.
There you go. Well, they're talking about Bill. Bill, who was, we remember in the first season, he was the one who left that sauerkraut and whatever on Margot's desk the first day. And
Yeah, I still stand by the fact that was awesome. That was an awesome thing to do.
And then Margot, of course, got promoted higher up than Bill ever did, and Margot now the boss, and Bill's kind of in the middle management role compared to those.
I don't
days.
even think he's that. I think he's a console jockey.
Well, he's like a department head, I think, or something like
Oh, is
that.
it?
No, he's Aleda's boss. That's what makes this really inappropriate.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Telling this story.
I didn't
to
actually
Aleda.
put that together.
Yeah, but so
Yeah.
Margot says, he worked all day one day. He went a 23-hour shift, and he wouldn't leave, and he was dedicated, but they ended up pissing his pants, and then they called him Peanut for years. That nickname followed him around for years, and
So really, Margot's the ass.
right.
Boy,
I just-
Aleda's going to call him that, right? First chance she gets.
Yeah. As soon as he pisses her off again, she's going to do it. And I just realized that this is another parallel in this episode. Margot, like Karen, is being inappropriate with somebody she helped raise as a child.
Yes, but she's not trying to dance with her. So
not creepy inappropriate.
And there was trauma, and both the characters kind of feel bad for the other character. Like Karen kind of feels bad for Danny because of everything that happened with Shane, and I think that here again, Margot. The only reason she tells her this is because she feels bad about what happened when she abandoned her. I guess so.
Trying to give her a bit of agency, but
I don't think Margot feels that bad.
No, I don't get that impression at all.
But she says Bill might be difficult, but he's a good engineer, and you're going to deal with difficult people in your career, and you need to find a way to work with them.
See, that should have been the conversation, not the whole
thing.
Yeah. Not but
especially coming from somebody who's as high up as she is, you don't belittle your
we know where this is going. She's gonna blow it, and then Margot's gonna. I told you that in confidence, and all this crap.
Well, Mark, you gotta be careful what you tell people sometimes too, even in confidence. So,
I should be able to take back that bra comment.
Anyway, so we get more news footage
forever now.
Next scene, we get more news footage. Talking about this Cold War tension that's building up. We see the U.S. Navy is right near the area where that plane was shut down. They want to get to the wreckage, the bodies, all that. This was all real world events, playing out here.
That's the wrong plane.
This plane?
Yeah, that would have been replaced by then.
We see an aircraft carrier.
And
then we head over to the Wilson household where. Ellen, she's trying to get her coffee maker out, but she doesn't know how to work it or something, and she
buy a Keurig.
Larry makes the coffee in that house.
There are no Keurigs yet,
that's
Jody.
For sure.
Well, they have video chat on the fucking moon. They must be able to do a Keurig by now.
They don't have that technology yet. Come on.
Yeah, all right.
Anyway, so Ellen's stuck, but Larry's got the magic touch here with the button. He knows what buttons to push, and. And he's talking to Ellen here. And I think this is maybe one of the most important conversations Ellen has for her character because she doesn't know what to do. She's struggling with how to do it. And Larry's like, why don't you just make these decisions? You're in charge of all of NASA. Why don't you wield that power? She's like, I'm acting. I'm just the acting director or whatever. And he's like, then act like it. Right? Coming off this conversation with Reagan, where
if that doesn't work, go find a kid.
go buy a bar and then hire.
Go buy a bar.
Do you guys think that Larry is manipulating her? Because I do. Yes,
he's pushing the buttons just like that coffee maker, Jeff. He's.
I don't think he's maliciously doing it, but he is looking out for his own self-interest.
I absolutely agree, Kevin. He's definitely furthering his own interests by encouraging Ellen.
Yes, and if he can keep Ellen focused on her career and not on Pam, then Pam's gonna go away, and then they don't have to get divorced, and then they can keep going.
It's kind of malicious.
He's not been a good friend to her at all. No.
Right.
I'm not even sure he's aware that he's actually doing it. People do this all the time without even knowing it.
Right.
That they're just thinking about themselves.
So how premeditated it is, I don't know. To Kevin's point, it might just be him trying to give her what he would do in that situation himself, right? They're having this conversation basically in the middle of the night. And so and then she was talking about the military taking over NASA, right? She's going to lose control of NASA. This is what happens when crisis happens. They come in and they take over, and we won't get to Mars, and all these other things that we've dreamed of doing. Will go away, and so that also kind of empowers Ellen to sort of take more drastic steps, right, and act less like a civilian and a little bit more militaristic in an effort to keep the military from taking over completely, So there's this meeting here. The general's like, "Why'd you call this meeting, Margot?" And she's like, "I didn't call this meeting. Who did?" the new boss, same as the old boss. Actually, not the same as the old boss. A little different than Thomas Paine here, with Ellen.
I like how she's even picked like a blouse that's more military looking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, she's looking a little bit more suited for business, and she even looks at like Molly here. Molly doesn't always sit for the meetings, but she wants Molly to sit for this meeting. You know,
that was an excellent look. Like that was a power move for sure. Like just sit the fuck down.
Sit the hell down, Molly. You know, remember,
I'm
Molly
surprised she didn't have like a suit, like what do they call them, pantsuits or whatever.
Like a power suit?
Yeah, like a power suit.
Some
and then have
big
like
shoulder pads would have been
and
good.
then have like Oprah walk in with her. Like,
That's kind of what she's wearing. That's kind of...
Oh, I hope the shoulder pads get bigger as the 80s go on.
They better.
Because that's what happened in real life. It better happen in this timeline too. I'd also like to point out in that screenshot, the ashtrays in the middle of the table are the size of fruit bowls. How many cigarettes are we smoking?
Well, you gotta remember, some of them are cigar smokers too. Eh?
We were a non-smoking house, and we had an ashtray that size for when my mom's boss would come over twice a year. He chain smoked so much he would almost fill that in like the hour and a half he was there.
He's like smoked 2 packs in an hour.
Yeah, he would just he'd get up in the morning, light a smoke. That's the last time he's using the lighter.
I have an aunt that would probably have to dump that twice in a day.
My question is, why is no one smoking in the scene? Like, what, you know, like not one person. You know,
They just the ashtrays.
Apple didn't want to pay for it. I guess maybe.
But they smoked in this last season a lot. Everyone was smoking.
That
it was the 70s.
70s. They didn't know. In the 80s, they
They
kind
didn't
of know.
know.
As far as I can tell, season 1 is still better anyway. So maybe that's what it was.
But
Maybe
Maybe
the
they
cigarettes
need
made
to
it better.
smoke more.
the stories I've heard of our grandfather, Jeff and I's grandfather, was that he was a chain smoker like that. The only time he didn't have a smoke in his mouth was when he was asleep or for the hour in church on Sunday. That would be it.
My grandfather was such a heavy smoker. My grandmother said that when he watched a hockey game, he would smoke 5 packs of cigarettes during the hockey game.
Holy shit!
Guess what? He died of emphysema.
Yeah, so did my mom's boss.
Our grandfather also died of cancer. So there's kind of a thing here. So
R.I.P. grandfather.
I don't know.
Happened?
What's the correlation? I don't.
We've got a good tangerine here. Let's come back.
yeah.
Oh my god! It's even got the gold buttons on the arms too.
Yeah.
Damn, she really going for Admiral.
But anyway, like Ellen's like, no, we're gonna take back that base on the moon that the Soviets took from us. We're doing it like tonight, and Molly's not too happy about it. She's like, why would we do it now? You know, and like, why wouldn't we do it at a certain time?
Why would we just rush into this and not plan it better?
Oh, and Ellen wants to mount weapons onto Pathfinder is the other big thing here, and Margot can't believe that. Like, she's like, what?
Go talk sense into Reagan.
Go talk. No, she's like, no. I gave Reagan this idea, you know, and we see like Ellen is like embracing.
Yeah, she literally shows up and she's like, "By the way, we're doing it this way," and I'm not open for any debate.
I have to say, Ellen in this episode really is giving me Tulsi Gabbard vibes, like
streak in her hair. Yeah. Right. And Margot can't believe it. So Margot is shocked that Ellen has gone full heel, or at least half heel. And so we see Margot then walks right out of the meeting, and where does she go? Directly to Sergei, her from the Soviet space program. And you know, there's MPs here, there's the KGB guys here, so she has to kind of like talk to him in code and sort of subtle.
Terrible code. She openly commits treason right here.
She's like, I'm really worried about those docking procedures, and I was really like, maybe there's something wrong with your shuttle design. You wouldn't believe what happened with our O-ring and da da da. And she's trying to say, if you don't fix this, you know, your astronauts or cosmonauts.
Treasonous coward who needs to be shot now.
Well, she's actually a hero here, but
whatever.
But she is obviously like giving classified information against the general's will and all this stuff. But this is how she reacts to Ellen's decisions to go tell Sergei all this. So interesting thing.
Yeah, and I think Margot's like position is like she's being forced to, because the military and Ellen are doing this hard line kind of, you know, militaristic way of doing things now in NASA. And the problem with this is it's only going to escalate and get worse, and everybody can see that that's not in the military. Like, Maggie can see that. Molly and Margot can see it for sure. So, like, this is the whole problem is, like, when you're dealing with science and, like, you need cooperation, not you can't be adversarial. Like,
and I think
this guy's eye line is very inappropriate. Just saying.
Well, it happens to.
Sorry. Also, is this room bugged, or are they really just worried about what the MP is going to relay? Like,
everyone can hear. This is kind of a public conversation, and
it was the worst code, like the worst. She just openly says it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm surprised she didn't go to the whiteboard. She's like, let me draw
smart.
this for you.
This O-ring right here. You see
right here. This is a problem.
O-ring, you dead. Like, here we go.
Let me show you my O-ring. Oh.
Right. Okay. Over at the
draws it and then just writes O-ring.
The Baldwin house here. There's some mail here. Kelly picks up. She got this package from the adoption agency with her information from her parents.
Does anybody care about this, by the way?
Well,
because I don't at all.
How about Ed making bean sandwiches?
That's just as bad.
Jail for 1,000 years. That's disgusting.
Okay, Andy's gonna put.
So you guys have never had beans and dipped your toast in?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I have for sure.
I don't like beans that much.
Yeah, it's a British thing.
Yeah. And why is it on a tray? Is he going to put that in the oven? What is he doing with that?
Yeah.
I think
he's putting the beans, so it's toast and I think cheese.
And
bologna. There's bologna here.
But he hasn't done the bologna yet. I assume he's going to fry that bologna.
It's not bologna.
It's 1983, and he is a modern man while his wife is out working and banging the neighborhood children. He is providing for his family.
She's making $100,000 deals. She's like selling bars for $390,000. Anyway, but apparently this is Kelly's favorite. So just keep that in mind.
Oh, God.
Well, she is an orphan.
Have abused her.
Yeah.
She is right to want to go
First
back
Shane, now Kelly.
All you eat is beans. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you get.
That's it. I'm getting a new family.
God, if that's her favorite, what else is she eating?
She likes that spaghetti too.
Wet spaghetti.
Yeah, really wet spaghetti.
Blech.
God, I just cringe even thinking of it.
But we need to get through this, guys. So Kelly is got her little package here with her adoption agency from her biological parents. We see she was born in July of 1966 during the Vietnam War.
That's her real name, right? They just showed there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nguyen Thi Han. I don't know. I'm not fluent in Vietnamese, but
yeah. The first name would be her last name.
Yeah.
So Nguyen, right?
Yeah.
That's how you say that.
Yuhan, yeah.
We see her looking through these official documents, and she, sees that her mother died in childbirth during her childbirth. She
was stable, and then they made it so she wasn't, which is kind of creepy.
This also happened in 1966 in Saigon, so I'm guessing the Vietnam War might have had a big part of what occurred here, because he was in the army, or dad was in the army, so that's probably a big reason why her mom died at childbirth. Something happened.
But her biological father is still alive. We find out here. We see a picture here of her parents.
Which clearly the dude is definitely older than the other one.
Yes.
Like he's looking like he's got 20 years on her.
No, it was a rough time.
It's not the first person that will have a younger partner in this episode, so
ain't nobody getting email on a fucking Apple II, okay? Come on now.
D-mail, Jody.
Whatever.
D-mail V1.2.
Yeah.
And they're connected. This is the internet, Jody.
Connected.
Karen's looking for some D-mail.
So
big fat pipe.
We see that Kelly's got some kind of booklet that has like the email address for the Department of Defense Communications.
That's handy that they put it in a book. It makes it easier to give to everybody.
So you can email like the Department of Defense, I guess, or whatever.
Oh, yeah, sure. Oh yeah, they love that.
Yeah.
On my Apple II, that doesn't even have a modem.
Yeah, to whom it may concern.
There's no modem hooked up to it, so I have no idea how she's doing this.
I'm looking for this information, etc., right? So she's sending this off to the DoD 40852.
So this is probably a node. So it's probably an internal node. So maybe she has access to like the internal like ARPANET or something at NASA.
Yeah.
Maybe.
She's on
Right.
DARPA.
Yeah, 16, 17-year-old girl, that's...
Yeah, it
that's
makes
what you
perfect
get.
sense to put her on there.
She's hacking, okay?
She's hacking.
Hack the planet!
I think
She's
that's
a
it for
spy.
Kelly.
That's
right?
why she looks 40.
Ah, that's it.
That's it.
All right,
That's
let's
it.
get to everyone's favorite part of the episode, Karen and Danny. So Karen's just looking around the outpost. She's like, I can't believe I sold it. Like, and I guess this is her like saying goodbye to the place, even though she hasn't fully sold it yet. But then who's here? Danny. He's coming. I guess he took the trash out or whatever, and he's like, "Hey, how you doing? Want to have a beer?" And she's like, "Well, I shouldn't, but okay. Let's have a
I
beer."
shouldn't, but let's get loaded.
Danny's what, like 19?
Yeah, he's not even legal.
Around
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Okay,
and-
so
Well, maybe,
right here, like as if we weren't already knowing where this was going, he literally says, "And here's to you, Mrs. Baldwin."
right.
Yeah.
Here's to you, Mrs. Baldwin.
Yes.
Now, in real, what's weird about this, because I know, like, yeah, she raised him, but the actors are not like this. The actor that plays Danny and the actress that plays Karen, they're not that far apart in age. In
No,
reality.
it's only
It doesn't
creepy
matter.
from a
This is the story.
standpoint.
But in the story, it's weird.
If this was
Anyway,
a real life thing, I wouldn't have cared.
well, Danny's here to open up Karen to new possibilities. He want to hear a song? I'm adding a song to the jukebox. Want to have a listen, Mrs.
The
Baldwin?
jukebox that wouldn't exist yet, but yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't have compact disc jukeboxes back
Well,
then.
it's the new 1980s.
Yeah, and I can't get a fucking Keurig. Okay, give me a break.
They can have internet. They can't have a Keurig, but they can have internet on the Apple II. That's how it goes.
Yeah, I guess.
You can email the
Yeah.
different Department of Defense.
Well, it could
Anyway,
be a BBS she's connecting to, but she still
So
doesn't have a modem. So it doesn't
we're
make
hearing a
sense.
cover of "Don't Be Cruel," the Elvis song, by some
Now,
country artist.
Did everyone like this cover? I loved
No.
it.
I hated
really?
it.
I loved it. I thought it was so good.
I'm not a big Elvis guy to begin with. But
I like the original
I did
Elvis
like the
song.
cover.
I felt it was for me. It was a little slow, but Karen likes it and Danny likes it, so they're getting into it.
He
And she
really
starts.
looked like Gordo there. They did a good job on him. Like, that,
and casting somebody that looks like a young Gordo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It
never
is.
really thought it until you mentioned it, and like this screenshot, I can see that.
I never saw
yeah,
it until
if
this.
he had a big old duster on there, he'd be perfectly Gordo.
Right. Well, Karen, she starts shaking her hips. I was thinking of like the Forrest Gump scene where he's like, I was shaking my hips back and forth, and she's going. People
How
really
did you
like
get
that.
from this to Forrest Gump? But
It's
anyway,
Elvis. Elvis is a
Elvis.
Forrest Gump.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
This scene does feel a little bit like...
Inappropriate sexual contact.
Yeah, like when Forrest and Jenny do have sex in that one scene where she's loaded up and like severely traumatized. It does feel a little bit like that in this scene.
It's like inappropriate.
Yeah.
But the people can't help it. So she's dancing, and Danny likes what he sees. She invites him over to
Me
dance
like
with her, right? And he's like, "Oh yeah, I will."
Yeah.
He thinks,
He's not hiding it here. Like she
Oh,
sees
no.
him staring at her, and she's like, "Come over here."
He loaded up the jukebox. Like this was all planned.
at what point does she know what she's doing? Is really the question.
Oh,
here.
about now.
She's known all along.
About now is when she knows, for sure.
Yeah. So they're dancing. They're going here, and then
All right,
he just,
I gotta mute myself. Hold on. You don't want to hear what I'm about to say.
All right. So Jody's giving us obscenities. Anyway, so this big kiss, Danny kisses Karen, and then there's this, he pulls away, and she looks at him, and then she kisses him back. Jody's saying no, but then that kiss breaks, and she just kind of walks away. Nothing said. She just walks right out of the bar. And,
Which is the best thing about this scene. Okay, she came to her senses. She made a mistake, a terrible, gross mistake. Is she going to continue making this mistake?
I'm sure that's the end of it, Heather. I'm sure that's the end of it. So,
probably the end of it. He's going to the academy. It's going to be fine.
What you do is you go home and you find your husband and you get in bed with him.
Hop on your hot husband and sublimate those feelings. You got it, girl.
Right. You know, and Ed's like, hey, what's going on? But then he's like, oh. Well,
he's like, someone's feisty.
Right. So she's going at him here.
I can't blame him. Like,
the bra will not come off, Jody.
I just started thinking
there could be a knife in there.
He's got a belly full of beans.
He does.
Oh yeah. As she's jumping up and down, that place is getting bad.
Yeah, at least his breath wouldn't be good, you know.
No, you are ruining this for me, all of you.
Guys,
Jody,
number one,
post-adulterous sex scene before you guys all got your mittens on it.
So.
We're just pointing out the facts. Come on.
Number one, she don't care because she has her eyes closed and she's thinking a little boy. All right.
Right.
So
yeah,
what's going on here? Oh yeah.
So she's they're going and we come away and then we head back up to the moon. Everyone, Jamestown, where we see the Marines.
The moon, which is what this show is about, isn't it?
Allegedly. So
it's mankind is what it's about. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So we see that the Marines ask Tracy, how soon can you have the LSAM ready to go? And she's like, in a couple hours. They tell her that they're planning this mission to go take back the mining facility in the Shackleton crater here on the moon, and that the Marine pilot, he's not ready. He's not ready for this yet, according to Tracy. So Tracy, she can't be ordered to do this, but she volunteers to fly the mission out of a sense of patriotism and duty to her country.
And also she's feeling good again and not fucking up at her job, which you can tell because her skin looks good. She doesn't look tired and her hair's all neatly in place. So you can tell when Tracy's a mess internally because they mess her hair up.
Right. That's a good point.
I was just, once they got into the ship, I'm just like, oh God, did they kill her here? Because that would be amazing.
But no, sir.
No, sir. Then after that, Reagan giving this speech, talking about, he's introducing Ellen as the new NASA official person here. We see that while the speech from Reagan's happening, like Danielle Poole gets to leave Moscow, or Star City rather, in Russia.
And I think she's taking the Bible with her.
She does take the Bible.
They charge you for that, don't they?
Only if the Gideons, if they have them in Russia. Anyway, she looks up here. She carved her name next to these cosmonauts,
So right here, this made me think of in the Shawshank Redemption when Red walks out the door and it pans up to Brooks was here, so was Red.
Red, yeah, me too. Well put. Back also during this montage, we got Kelly who's continuing her emails here. She's getting information. I guess this is her biological father, Lee Nguyen,
who happens to be in Texas.
He happened to have immigrated to Texas. That's convenient. So
all she has to do is take a bus.
Right, Arlington from Houston. I'm not sure how far it is, but
who wrote her back? Who got this email? Wait, you know what? Okay, yeah.
Somebody at the Department of Defense was like, "Oh, you want to know about?"
It's the adoption coordinator at the Department of Defense.
Yeah. I just think the government would be like, "What are they asking about? No, get the fuck out of here!"
If they did respond, it would be years.
Yeah. Right. Well, this is I don't know.
It's the same afternoon. D-mail is very fast, y'all.
Right. D-mail. Right. Don't mess with D-mail.
It's because it's so young.
Then we got Pam and Larry here watching Ellen on TV with Ronald Reagan.
So I just looked up that address that they had for the work address. It actually comes back as a dental office.
Daddy dentist.
He's a dentist.
Well, we're also 30 years ahead of this?
Right.
40 years ahead of this?
Well, more like 40, yeah. 42 actually, to be exact.
Same infrastructure.
Maybe. Anyway. So Ellen's on TV with Reagan, and we got Larry and Pam watching. Then we got we're back to the moon mission where the Marines are getting suited up here along with Tracy, getting their guns out. They're going and they're heading over to take back their base, take back their mine facility here.
I still think using this vehicle like this is so stupid, but anyway.
When they started flying through the crater and the chasm, I was like, oh my God.
That's not what this thing's designed for.
I was like, I don't care how good of a pilot you are. This is crazy.
This is crazy. Well, that's why I thought she was gonna bite it, and then I'm like, oh, cool. They actually kill off.
They
somebody
had budget limitations there, Jody. You got to make do with what you got.
Yeah.
What do you mean budget limitations?
Well, they had to fly low because they don't want the radar to be detected. But what were the Soviets really gonna do once this like gang of Marines show up? You know.
Well, they probably have moon guns too.
Maybe not. Like they don't really know.
I don't know. They were running pretty good when they showed up.
Yeah. Anyway, so the Marines are heading, and then they start doing their dun 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 dun. As
Charlie, don't surf.
Yeah.
Charlie, don't surf.
They're having fun as they're heading over here on the back of this pickup truck, heading over to the base there, and even Tracy's getting in on it as they head up. I was like, to fly this LSAM through this like series of caves and craters, like
No
geez.
bloody way.
Wow. And once they get there, the landing site that they're expecting to use is blocked. So then Tracy has to find a different one. But there's all this dust getting like kicked up and like
so what we're trying to like understand here is that they've now put like two drilling two drills in place.
Yeah, they're going full tilt there.
It's a major drill site now.
Right. We see these two cosmonauts. Of course, there's no sound on the moon, so they don't hear this coming. But yeah, I guess they.
I'm pretty sure they would see all the dust flying around, though.
Well, they eventually do, and they're like, "Oh, what's that?" You know. As Tracy lands it here, the Marine pilot loves it. As the cosmonauts are like, "What's coming out there? That dust?" And it's the Marines, the few, the proud, the Marines. I think that's what they're saying. And they got guns, everyone, and the cosmonauts are like, "No, don't shoot us."
I like how they have basically like welding helmets with like old school flashlights attached to them.
Right.
They're like, these guys suck. They don't have the technology.
And they run away from those Marines, like anyone would, of course. Yeah.
See, okay, I have a gripe about this. I wonder if there was like, do you think the Soviets might have thought this could happen, and they would have had precautions, or they might have had some sort of. I guarantee you, their thing was run away like little schoolgirls. You know, like that was
the
not
protocol.
That was not the
protocol.
Yeah.
Depends what was going on. Like if they weren't like. Americans were complacent. They didn't do anything when this happened.
Right.
You know,
maybe they think they'll just leave it, but that was before they shut down that.
Well, however, there was that little detail.
Right. So they've taken control of the site, you know, and they've taken down that Soviet flag, and they've put an American one there like it belongs. And
then basically they all saying America, fuck yeah, they chest bump and cheer on the moon.
Right.
Yeah.
The only time puppets are acceptable.
This cheering of just making two astronauts run away was a little much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, we fucking crushed
we
that
showed
guy.
them. Yeah.
Bro.
That's how you
did
do
it.
it.
You scared those Ruskies. Yeah. No. It was. I mean, I get it. I get what they were going for, but it felt very like America.
Yeah. And then, as Canadians, we're like, whatever. But you know,
now we're certainly whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even before I felt like that, and even more so now. But this is the part of the show where we like to get the trivia that we might not have heard. The fun facts, we call it. Fun facts with Adam.
All right, let's go. So let's get the stuff with the show out of the way first, and then we'll get into the actual event. But the Russian name scratched on the door of the pool's room and starts to indicate it was previously occupied by cosmonauts Valentina Tereshkova and Alexei Leonov and Anastasia Belikova. The last one being fictional, first cosmonaut to walk on the moon in the first season. So, pardon me, there was two real ones and then the fictional one. You guys were asking about the Soviet engineer in Daniel's room. It's actually a reference to Sergei Korolev, the Soviet Union's leading rocket engineer. So I guess he was the Werner Braun of the Soviets. Despite his skills, he was sent to prison and even a gulag by Stalin's Secret Service in 1938. He spent several years there imprisoned, and when he became the most important engineer of the Soviet space program, he was pulled out.
Okay, so he was an engineer, and yeah, there's that whole part in the conversation with Danielle. He talks about being in the gulag, and
yeah, that's right.
And he was
so
like,
maybe
"You think
we just got like the creepy maybe KGB threatening vibe from him because he's like a scary Russian.
Maybe they're just all scary. I don't know. Or we'll see.
When the Marines disembark the lander to retake the mining site, the platoon commander calls for weapons free, which means you can engage your identified enemy combatant in accordance with the rules of engagement. If this was the case, the Marines should have shot the cosmonauts as soon as they identified them. What he should have called would be weapons safe or weapons tight. Engage if you were engaged when directed, respectively. So he basically gave the command to shoot them.
Shoot on sight.
Which is so much more American.
When General Nelson Bradford shows Margot the stolen plans from the Buran shuttle, she discovers the plans were identical to the space shuttle plans. So again, they identified that they were stolen. Then she identified the O-ring, and I think we all spoke about that, but just in case people missed it, the O-ring and the Challenger disaster. So what happened was the O-ring didn't expand when the shuttle was getting ready. It didn't expand because it was too cold. Mm-hmm. And so it was supposed to expand and basically fill the gap in that booster rocket. And when it didn't expand, the fuel leaked and they had the explosion. So what they were trying to say here is that in Russia, where this was, it's likely that this thing will not expand and you'll have a disaster. That's why they were really trying to preserve life and get them to correct this before it happened. Margot was, anyway. So then we get into the actual opening scene where we saw the plane being shot down. So, Heather, you mentioned in the beginning, I was 12 years old going into grade 7. And again, this is like, for me, a major time in my life where I was paying attention to the news all the time. I was watching all the movies about, nuclear war. There was a lot of hype. And so what happened here was the Americans were really boosting up nuclear warhead production and were getting them into Europe. So they're deploying more and more rockets and bombs. And at the same time, Reagan's spouting off about Star Wars and trying to get that going. So there's a lot of rhetoric, amping up the Cold War. Now, what we learned later was that it was really an attempt to get the Soviets to spend into oblivion and lose the Soviet Union, and it worked. Oh. However, at the time, tensions are rising, right? So then we had this event happen, and this was like the weirdest thing. So this flight goes from wherever to Anchorage, and then it's supposed to go on to South Korea. It's supposed to go on a flight plan down the Bering Sea into the North Pacific and then across Japan. However, it didn't do that at all. It went 400 miles off course over into Soviet airspace, over the Soviet Union one peninsula, and then was shot down. So they were watching this. So this is a major. So you now shot down 200 civilians with Americans on there, including an anti-communist. What was he? Congressman.
John Birch Society guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, what the heck? This is major. So in theory, were the Soviets provoked? Probably, because the Americans had kept coming at them with all kinds of things. So they thought, okay, we're being spied on. Go ahead.
They were pretty far off course.
Right. So why? Now, at the time, the Soviets actually denied it. And then it was a few days later they said, oh, yeah, we did this. But it was because you were spying. So this was just a lot of tension. And in fact, this was the most tension since the Cuban Missile Crisis, in the scale of possible, nuclear threats and nuclear war. So it was pretty major. Now, because of this, we didn't even know what exactly happened. They didn't release the black boxes until 1992 when the Soviet Union fell. And then we got really understood what happened in the plane. But, they were shut down. Simple as that. Now, there's all kinds of weird theories of what happened. So here we go. I'm not going to go into every one of them. But here's the alternative theories. The flew crew awareness of the deviation. They did it on purpose to save fuel. They went that way. Back in those 747 days, they actually had a flight engineer on board. So they had two pilots, the co-pilot and the pilot, and then a flight engineer who was basically the navigation guy, who made the one change. So there's that theory. Now there's the planned spy mission theory. So who planned it? I don't know. There's that possible one.
But couldn't they have like radioed the plane and said like, "Hey, you're not supposed to be here," and then escorted them out of that airspace?
So conveniently, there was a radar station in Alaska that had failed. Again, conveniently. So I mean, so the planned spy mission theories point out that they basically had one person who was the flight engineer who tried to get pictures of this base. Then you had the theory of the spy mission involving a U.S. Air Force class. So what they were saying here is that they sent this plane over there to basically detract or take away the focus on the Americans who were spying on them. And then there's this other one. This gets into weird stuff now. When they actually went and found the plane, there was no bodies. And usually you see, people's bodies when you find a crash.
Or at least like body parts of bodies or something,
right.
Yeah.
But they didn't find any. And then they found clothes that were all zipped up and in the plane. So it's just, or around the plane. It's just a weird thing. So, I mean, so there's a crab theory that the crabs really ate everybody, which doesn't make any sense because there's no bones lying around, or sharks. And then there's the decompression theory that had them all suck out. But that doesn't make sense because there was still clothes in the plane. Left everywhere.
Yeah, they weren't sucked out of their clothes.
No. Then there's the theory that the Soviets removed all the bodies, and or the plane didn't actually crash and they abducted the people. So it went on and on like this for a long time. But
what do you think, Jeff? What did they do? What happened?
I don't know. I do know though at the bottom. It depends how long, I guess. But if you're at the bottom of the ocean, depending on how deep you are, like I know for a fact that in the case of the Titanic, there are no bodies down there. It's all bones. Like all of it has been crushed because of the pressure of the water. So they're not there anymore. There's no bodies. There's shoes, there's clothes. There's exactly what you just said. But I don't know how deep this plane was in the water.
Well, the Sea of Japan is like 3,700 meters deep.
Yeah, it depends where they crashed or how. I mean, if they were close to an island or whatever. But there was those pieces of the plane washed up on shore. Do you remember when that plane crashed off in Nova Scotia?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of bodies that came up on shore there. So it's just
the currents matter.
I just went by that memorial when I was in Halifax.
I don't want to be insensitive, but why the fuck are we still talking about this?
It's interesting.
Is it possible that there were no bodies because everyone was transported to a mysterious island with polar bears and black smoke monsters?
This was the beginning of Lost. Gabriel's got the idea here. And Jody, no offense, but we talk a lot about bras here, so we're talking about this.
Bras are way more interesting, just so you know.
Get out of the gutter.
I was done when we were done about the bra conversation.
Yeah,
that was an hour and a half ago. So
that was fine. I'm just kidding.
Jody, I was going to vindicate you and give the last fun fact here once Adam is ready to wrap up.
I actually am done now, but anyway, it was a pretty big ordeal back then, and like I said, it did bring back the memories of it. And for a 13-year-old kid, it's just a matter of thinking that this is the end of the world all the time. It was weird. It was a weird time.
Were you dancing with your friend's mom at any point?
No.
Okay.
Just watching the news. No Mrs. Robinson moments. Just existential crisis.
Yeah.
All right.
That's rough, Adam. I have a lot of empathy for
Only
you
fear of
as a
nuclear
little boy
war.
thinking
No
about that.
older
Yeah.
women. in his
Just
life.
nuclear war terror day in and day out.
I don't ever remember feeling that way in my whole adult life even though it's probably more dangerous today than it was back then.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, Adam. I didn't mean to. Make your make your story bad.
All right.
'Cause that's
Well,
not what I was
Adam,
intending.
if I can, I'm just going to take over here for a moment and
Please, take
vindicate Jody because the
You don't need
last
to
fun.
vindicate me.
The newsreel footage of the U.S. Navy aircraft carrier on alert during this time frame of 1983 shows F-4 Phantoms being launched from the carrier. By that time, the F-4 had already been replaced by the F-14 Tomcat and would no longer be flying off of U.S. Navy carriers. Certainly, the alternate timeline further reinforces the idea that military technology would be more advanced, not less. therefore making it even clearer that the F-4s would be replaced by F-14s.
They had this little movie in '85 called Top Gun. I don't know if you heard of it, but it was all F-14s. So.
Right. Well, and with that, let's go into our ratings and put down a score for the episode, and put that up there. So, oops, it's kind of small. Yeah, let's go a little bit there. Okay, Don't Be Cruel. Jody, what do you want to give this?
Oh, I'm gonna be cruel. You know what? It's not as bad as last week's episode. I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
All right, Adam.
This was pretty entertaining. I come up to 8.
Okay, I'll go 8 as well. Kevin.
7.5.
Heather.
I'm going to give it an 8 as well.
And Jeff.
7.5 it, Jeff. 7.5 it. Be on our side.
Yeah, I'm more.
Kevin and I, be on our side.
7.5. Yeah.
So we're averaging 7.8 because 3 of us are 7.5 and 3 of us are 8. And
nobody won.
The IMDb score is 7.7.
So we're right on.
We're right on. So we're averaging 7.7.
I don't know how they gave 7.7 to last week though. That was just.
Yeah. Well, it's only 1,800 people voted for
We
that.
clearly didn't like it as much as the, thousands of people who rated it on IMDb.
And with that, we have concluded our coverage here of Don't Be Cruel, the 7th episode of the 2nd season of For All Mankind. And we look ahead to episode 8, which is titled, And Here's to You. Could that be a reference to Mrs. Robbins?
Jesus, more of this?
Yeah. The episode's called And Here's to You. Season 2 episode.
Gordo's looking suspiciously at his helmet. What does that foreshadow?
Yeah. Well, Gordo getting ready for his launch there, it would seem. He had no lines in this episode at all. He was just in one seat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
come to it. You're right.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for tonight's coverage. Check out on Thursday. We'll be covering the 4th episode of Strange New Worlds, Star Trek Strange New Worlds. It's titled A Space Adventure Hour.
Oh, God.
And Jody's going to love it. So
I love this outfit. Oh, gorgeous.
Yeah, it's looking pretty cool.
Why, when you have 10 episodes, do you waste your shit on this? Anyway.
Well, that's it. That's what they do it, Joe. So
I'm just so pissed off about this.
So
don't even get me started on Academy yet.
I won't. All right. I still need to do a trailer reaction on that. If anyone's interested.
I haven't watched it yet, Dave. If you want somebody live,
I wouldn't mind. Yeah. So, but maybe tomorrow night we can do that. Because we've been on here for a while. But thanks to everyone. Thanks to Kevin, Jody, Jeff, Heather, and Adam. And thanks to all in the live comments. We hope you'll tune in next time for another episode of For All Mankind. And make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And until then, we'll see you next time.
I'm gonna go put my foot in my mouth.
All right, that's what you're great at. All right.
And here's to you, Mrs. Robinson.
Good night.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.